Bark, bark. Bark, bark, bark. Bark, bark, bark. Bark, bark, bark. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, bark, bark. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, bark, come on. 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 Monk, 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 monk. Monk, monk. Honk. Honk, honk, honk. Honk, monk, monk. Monk, ma. Mama. Ma. Bark, bark, come on. Bark, bark. Mama, ma, mama, mama. Just kidding, you thought I was gonna do the whole deck tech like that? Don't try me, I'll fucking do it. Today we will bring divine justice to all human filth that dare to sacrifice our brothers and sisters for their own greed. Through the power of holy fire, one divine Yoshimaru will bring retribution. I'm coming for you. I'm fucking coming for you. For today's deck tech, we are focusing on two partners. First, we have our Yoshimaru, ever faithful, the chosen one, the one who will bring the retribution to the humans who deserve it. Yoshimaru, ever faithful, is a one-mana white, good boy legendary creature dog, and whenever another legendary permanent enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Yoshimaru, ever faithful. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Because Yoshimaru is our source of pain for those who deserve it. What we want to do is play a lot of legendary permanents, so as we play our game plan, we can grow the Yoshimaru and then bring swift justice. Yes. But accompanying Yoshimaru is Jeska. Jeska, Thrice Reborn, is our partner commander in this Boros deck. She's a 3-mana planeswalker, and she enters the battlefield with a loyalty counter for each time you've cast a commander from the command zone in this game. So Yoshimaru's cheap mana cost will make it easy for us to get a bigger Jeska if we want to, because it's easy to cast and recast Yoshimaru, but Yoshimaru should never be recast because he should never be destroyed. Yes, yes. And if someone dares to destroy our Yoshimaru, our divine Yoshimaru, we punish the shit out of them. Jeska works well for our game plan because her 0 ability triples the damage of a creature that will deal combat damage to one of our opponents. So we want to grow our divine Yoshimaru, make him strong, imbue him with divine power, and then using Jeska we triple the retribution. But you may be wondering, oh wise Marukami, what if our opponents have a wall of blockers to block our retribution and justice? Well, here's where Jeska comes in, because Jeska's minus ability lets her deal X damage to each of up to 3 targets. So if we get Jeska big enough, we will use it to nuke down all the blockers, and then our divine Yoshimaru will go in and bite them. So today's deck, the game plan is simple. We want to stax, grow our Yoshimaru, and use Jeska to triple the damage or wipe the board and let us win through combat. So let's dive into all the legendary creatures and legendary permanents of this interesting Legend Ball deck, Sun and Wolf. Because this is a Legend Stax deck, we're gonna be focusing on the legendary permanents we'll be using to punish the wicked. If you wanna see more about the Stax elements and other spells, go to the Moxfield link in the description box below and look at the deck list. For today's deck tech, we are focusing on just the legendary permanents and while we're playing them. Bark bark. First up, our Planeswalkers, our mighty allies. We are playing 2 Planeswalkers, the first being Chandra, Torch of Defiance. Chandra, Torch of Defiance is a good source of value, either it being exiling the top card to play, or getting more mana to cast spells. Chandra is also great at killing opponents' creatures, and if you defend her long enough, Chandra becomes a win con with her emblem ability. So with Chandra and Jeska, there's a lot of ways to nuke down all the filthy humans. Burn them. Burn them good. The second Planeswalker is Gideon of the Trials. This Gideon can turn off attacking Kroms with his +1. He can also turn into a beater himself for 0, but most importantly, Gideon of the Trials gives you a worship effect as long as you control a Gideon Planeswalker. If an opponent is trying to win through a combo that doesn't involve them flipping over their deck and getting everything, this emblem effect can be problematic for their win, because they'll need like a Chain of Vapor to bounce back the Gideon before they can go for a Thoracle Console win. Now on to the legendary creatures, bark bark. The first legend is Adeline, Resplendent Cathar. We play Adeline because she's just a very powerful attacking creature that grows every cycle you attack with her. Her vigilance stops small attackers from hitting you while you stax the board, and left unchecked, she will make too large of a board for your opponents to stop. Then we have Adriana, an all-star legend I picked up from Pongo in our Sisei Najila list with Hidden Winota, then being a staple in my Wild Pile list. Adriana essentially is like a Boros Crater Hoof, giving each creature you control +3/+3 when you swing out at the table, and she's especially good with things like Adeline. Bruised Taro Boar Herder gives our Yoshimaru double strike and lifelink on each attack, and ETB, which is especially powerful when paired with Jeska's tripling of damage. So you grow your Yoshimaru, swing in an open attacker, triple the damage, and give it double strike. I'm pretty sure they die like immediately, and they probably deserve it. Captain Lannery Storm helps us ramp a treasure with each swing, letting us build up a stockpile of mana to play spells. She also synergizes well with Bruised Taro, as most opponents might not catch her second ability, and with Double Strike you can easily deal lethal amounts of damage by cracking treasures before damage. Goro Goro, Disciple of Ryusei, is a cheap legend from Neon Dynasty that gives our creatures haste. Haste is especially important in combat-based decks, as it means it saves us a whole turn by enabling immediate attacks by our creatures. Goro Goro's second ability is also very strong under a stax board, and Yoshimaru usually being modified at all times means you can easily activate Goro Goro, at least more easy than other decks. Hope of Girapur is a cheap legend that can be used to disrupt an opponent with a silence effect. Karizev Skyship Raider is another cheap legend we can play, who has First Strike and Menace on her own. She also pumps Yoshimaru for 1 counter each time she attacks by creating a legendary Ragavan token. We also play Leilaya the Blade Reforged as a beater who can grow themselves, and also as a way to exile more cards to play from the top of our library. Nadar Selfless Paladin has proved his value from my hand-in-hand list, and this vigilant attacker that ventures every time he attacks gives us incremental value from venturing into the dungeon, and eventually will become an anthem when you complete a dungeon, making our board just bigger. For more punishment, more punishment. Next, we have Plarg, Dean of Chaos. Plarg is here to help us loot into other silver bullets to stop our opponents, or you can turn Plarg around into Augusta to make all our creatures stronger and give them pseudo-vigilance to block. Raydane, God of the Worthy, is more hand-in-hand tech. She delays an ad nauseam or peer into the abyss, or can be turned into Valkmira as semi-protection for your stax pieces. Then, we play 2 Thalias. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, is just a simple tax effect, while Thalia, Heretic Cathar, plays an important role of tapping down our opponent's creatures, making our combat easier by reducing their blockers on cast, and also to disrupt their mana sources by tapping down their non-basic lands. We also play Ragavan, but Ragavan's good, I don't need to go over Ragavan. Cheap +1/+1 counter, and it's Ragavan. Our last legendary creature is Winota, Joiner of Forces. You thought I wasn't going to play Winota in this 99? Nope, every deck is going to Winota from now on. Winota, Joiner of Forces allows Yoshimaru to attack and generate us more legends and stacked creatures to advance our board and make Yoshimaru bigger, so Winota is very good in this list. And you might notice we play a lot of human legends to support the Winota theme, so you can attack with Yoshimaru and flip over like an Adriana or an Adeline. You won't get the tokens yet, and you won't get the melee yet, but the next cycle you will. Also get Bruised Taro, Lannery Storm, Karizev, and also the Thalias. A lot of good targets. So those are all the allies in the Yoshimaru army, but there's more. Bark bark. Commander's Plate, while not being legendary, is a powerful equipment on Yoshimaru. Equipping Commander's Plate gives Yoshimaru protection from every color but white and red. We get ding for red here because we're playing Jeska. Commander's Plate allows him to avoid most of the single target removal in Commander aside from swords to plowshares. We also play Ember Cleave as a legendary equipment that can be flashed in to grow Yoshimaru and give him double strike and trample, making that tripling of Jeska damage very, very threatening when you can just flash in an Ember Cleave like that. We also play Eye of Vecna, a legendary source of additional card draw. Shadow Spear is another cheap legendary equipment that gives Yoshimaru trample and lifelink. We also play the Ozolith to make sure to retain Yoshimaru's counters in the event that some heathen decides to remove our Yoshimaru. The Ozolith sucks up all that power and lets us redistribute it back onto another creature. Then the last legendary equipment we play is Umajawa's Jite, a really powerful piece of utility that helps us remove creatures, gain life, or pump the equipped creature. And the last piece of Yoshimaru tech I would like to highlight is Commander's Insignia. This tech from Charles is a unique anthem effect that pumps our whole board for each time we play a commander, making it very easy to give our creatures for something like +3/+3 for casting Yoshimaru or Jeska 3 times. Since both our commanders are relatively cheap, especially Yoshimaru, I imagine Commander's Insignia to be pretty strong in this list. Bark bark. Bark bark. Bark 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 bark. Bark. Bark 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 bark. Bark. Bark bark. Oh, is it time for our final Divine Justice? This deck also has an infinite combo. By playing Cloudstone, Curio, and Dockside, we can generate infinite treasures by bouncing Dockside with something like Yoshimaru to ultimately win the game with infinite casts of Jeska Thrice Reborn, activating her minus ability on each cast to wipe the world clean in holy fire. You all deserve it, you know it. So that is the deck. Stay tuned to see this deck show up on an episode of Untitled in the future. And remember, if you sacrifice one of my little brothers and sisters, I'll punish you.